All right, here welcoming Celine Boutier as we begin the week here at the Ascendant LPGA, benefiting Volunteers of America. Got to get used to that one. Celine, first question from me is, you live here in Texas. You're a local. How excited are you to be playing in this tournament and to be playing at a course that's closest to home?
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like I had the chance to play it a few times now, and it's definitely exciting to be really like closer to home and to have some of my friends come out and watch later this week. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I also like the course quite a lot. So I feel like I hope to get some good rounds going and we'll hopefully play for a chance to win this weekend.
How often have you played here at the Old American, and what about this course maybe suits your game, if anything?
Yeah, I feel like I've played the tournaments quite a few times. I also am a member here. I know some members out here, so I come to play once in a while, always a few rounds, and especially this spring, like knowing that we were coming here, I did come a few times too. I think it's a very good course. It can be pretty challenging with the wind because it's right on the lake, and the greens are pretty small. Like they're big, but they have really small areas, and so you have to be really smart about where you're hitting your approach shots and be really precise with them. So I think it's definitely a good course. There's also a few options of the tee, especially if they move the tees around or if the wind is changing directions. So you definitely have to be a good thinker out there.
Being a French golfer yourself, what makes you want to have Texas as your home base? What do you like about it here?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of happened really randomly, just because I started working with my coach when I was still in college, and then after that, I really had nowhere to go, so I just came here. But I honestly really like it. I feel like people are really welcoming here, and I feel really at home at my home course. And yeah, I feel like it's a great place to be. It has a great airport, so to travel to and from is very convenient. So yeah, I've been really enjoying living here.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of being a French golfer, played a couple weeks ago at the French Open, had I think top 10 results, I believe. How have you seen your transition of playing on the LET and when you play over there in Europe and come back here? How does that affect your game or make your game better, I guess?
I think it's each week is a different challenge. I feel like whether it's LPG or LET, I feel like for me personally, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I just try to approach the week the same way and just try to do my best each round. It's definitely fun to go back to France and play in front of a home crowd because I don't really get to chance to do that much besides the Evian Championship. So it's always nice. And this year was a different course too. So it was just I feel like a new tournament for me, a new week. But it's definitely nice to be able to see my family and my friends just for a little bit and just to be ready to come back out and finish the season.
Yeah, I asked that because the last time you played at the French Open, you won the year before this, and then you came over here to win. So I was wondering if your success is related out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice to be able to get a win at home, and you feel like very energized, and hopefully, keep the momentum for the weeks that are coming up after. So yeah, I feel like you just feel like you're honestly kind of recharging your batteries. It's obviously a little bit more exhausting too because you have a lot more like demands and the people watching and stuff. But I don't know, it just feels nice to be home for a little bit and then also motivate you to come back out here and just finish strong.
Mm-hmm. After last week too, you had a really good finish last week, so your game is obviously trending in a good direction. How gratifying would it be to perform well out here at your second home? And
yeah, it would be amazing. I mean, I feel like I've had this tournament, inside for a little while now, and I feel like I've performed well in the past too here. So I'm just really hoping to keep going that direction and just try to give myself a chance to play for the win.
Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just being a member out here, what are some of the tricks around this golf course? Obviously, we talked about it being, when it gets windy, it gets a little bit more challenging. But what is it about this golf course that you really need to know, and how does that local knowledge help you?
I think you need to know that the strategy is never set on any hole here because like the club selection of the tee or even in the approach shots can be so different depending on the wind or how firm it gets. And so you just definitely have to not set on like a set strategy for the whole tournament or for the, a whole day.
Had a really solid year this year. Obviously got a win a couple years ago out here in the LPGA, and you come close like a handful of times. How have you stayed patient? I know you're a player that holds yourself to some pretty high standards, but how have you kind of kept your patience coming so close?
Honestly, I just try to keep the positives, even though I've come close a few times. I feel like it could be a bad thing because I haven't been able to win, but at the same time, I've also been so consistent, more in the top 10s than I've ever been. So I think it's definitely something that you have to, look at and also take in because I feel like I'm definitely getting better as a player, and I feel like that's a huge positive. I just know that if I keep going that direction and that way, it's gonna come.
And then finally for me, I remember talking to you a lot at the last year's CME. It seems like you get to this point of the season, your game really starts to kind of pick up the pace. How have you kind of maintained your energy, maintained your golf game, having all of that success earlier this year as you look to what's an important last 5 events?
I think this year I've tried to pace myself a little bit more and have tried to take more weeks off, which I think is paying off because I feel like I'm not as tired as I was, in the previous seasons. So I definitely feel like, there's still a lot of big tournaments coming up. And I definitely want to have, my full potential and full energy for these. So I'm just definitely trying to, pace myself throughout the season and then, try to use some good weeks as a boost or like a momentum to, keep going for the week after or the following tournament. So yeah, hopefully last week's gonna help me to do the same. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's all we have for you. I will ask one more to just wrap things up, unless you have more.
Go for it.
I just want to know some of your goals, not for the end of the season, but for this week specifically. Home course, obviously you want to win, but any sort of smaller goals to help you achieve that big goal?
I think main thing for me is not to get ahead of myself, which I think I kind of do sometimes a lot, especially when I want to play well, when it means a lot to me. But I feel like that's also not helping me to perform well. So I just honestly just try to not think of the big pictures or like the future and just try to focus on each round at a time.
I actually have one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
If that's okay. Obviously, a big community of LPGA Tour players here in this area. What is it like for you to be able to have that community of people in Dallas, and then to also like maybe play and practice with? Are there any people that you really try to practice with when you're home or anything?
Yeah, it's actually so much more fun now that everyone's moving here, and yeah, I feel like I've been trying to get more players to move here. Because it's definitely more fun. I feel like Annie Park's a member at my course, so we get to play and see each other a lot. Also, UCAS just moved here recently, so we try to play. I mean, it's just more fun because we get to, play with each other, challenge each other a little bit, and just get our, competitive juices going. So it's always nice to have people to play rounds with and who you enjoy being with too. So it's definitely been a little bit more fun since there's more players here.
Are there any side bets? You don't have to answer that. Do you have any bets or anything going on? Do you all play for?
Oh yeah, we always play for something, I feel like, and it's even more fun because we also like to do team stuff too. So even with other pros, I know at my club we have maybe 10 pros, and me and Anya are the only girls, but like we like to play like the two of us against other guys and hopefully, take their money.
Who are some of those guys?
So her boyfriend, David Lee, and then there's a few Corn Ferry and Mini Tour players that are also members at our club.
Awesome. Perfect.
I will ask one more just to follow up, and because I asked Stacy and Angela last year that there's a lot of Texas sort of champions here, people who live here, and what is it like about Texas golf courses or whatever that helps people who play here a lot, native Texans, and what is it about these courses that gives you guys an advantage, you think?
I think it's the variety of golf courses that there are, variety of grass grasses, but also type of courses. And my course is more open, like links type, very big greens, big undulations, and Bermuda grass. But you can also find bent grass, and like you can find tree line courses. You can find hilly courses. Like here's more kind of narrow, I would say, like smaller green complexes. Always also a little bit of wind, so it really makes you control your ball flight a little bit more. But I think it's great practice. You can find anything, I feel like, here.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
That's all from us. Good luck this week.